In this video, we're about to watch John Fetterman be pushed on his flip-flopping back and forth about fracking, just like Kamala Harris. But before we get to that, there were also some other interesting comments made throughout this interview. So let's go through this. We're about to start with JD Vance talking.
Let me ask you about another topic, the second apparent assassination attempt against former President Trump this week. This is what his running mate, JD Vance, had to say in the wake of it. Take a look.
The big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and two people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it.
Senator, what's your response to Senator JD Vance?
I don't know who's actually listening to what Vance says. It's been
Millions of people, quite literally, millions of people. Like, this is like a third grade tactic. Who listens to that guy? He's grabby, he's bad, blah, 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 blah. JD Vance is traveling across the country, and people are watching him all over the internet. Quite literally, millions of people are listening to him. So this childish tactic of, okay, this is what it is, hey, he needs to get out. John Fetterman needs to get out of his blue echo chamber. If you don't think people are not listening to if you don't think people are listening to JD Vance, you're not operating in reality. Liberals might not be listening to JD Vance. Republicans and independents are listening to JD Vance.
Months already, no one's not really listening to him anymore. He has developed a kind of reputation to say dumb things, pointless things, and offend everybody.
Okay, I want you to just keep this in mind, what he just said. He's built a reputation to say dumb things and pointless things, okay? Just remember that throughout this video, all right? Just remember that.
And he's been picked as the most unpopular pick in history, but no one's listening to him. I'm certainly not. And we are right now.
We're here we are right now. Oh, no one's listening to him. Yes, people are. But here's what he didn't say. He didn't disprove JD Vance. There hasn't been 2 assassination attempts on Kamala Harris from Republicans. The last guy who tried to kill Trump had Biden-Harris on his truck. Literally, it was on his truck. So rather than talking about the substance and saying, yeah, I mean, we have tried to kill Trump twice, both of these people have been donating to Democrats fairly recently. Okay? So he's not gonna, and this is what they do. They don't want to take accountability for their rhetoric. If two people tried to assassinate Kamala Harris, they would be talking about the rhetoric. It's the right's fault. They need to tone it down. But since it's their side, they don't need to tone it down. We're not doing anything wrong. Our rhetoric is fine. They have a problem looking in the mirror. It's wild.
To the substance of his charge, though, I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this blank out.
Notice how she said to the substance of his charge. She's trying to get John Fetterman back on the substance because he avoided the substance and just was insulting JD Vance like a child.
How do you respond to that specific part of what he says?
Now that's absolutely absurd. Every Democrat condemned the assassination attempts.
It isn't absurd. It makes perfectly good sense. In addition to that, saying we condemn the assassination attempts does not mean that our rhetoric still wasn't dangerous. So he's talking about 2 different things. Your rhetoric could be extremely dangerous, which leads an individual to think the thing that I need to do is take Donald Trump's life in order to save the country. If you are getting people to believe that, your rhetoric is dangerous. And rather than acknowledging that, they want to deny it and say, well, we condemned it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what did you do before the condemnation that you had to give after someone tried to assassinate Trump due to, or likely, very likely due to, Democratic rhetoric.
And I did as well too. And they're talking about eating the dogs and saying outlandish kind of things. Now let's just have a serious conversation about this election, not talking about that kind of empty kind of rhetoric from somebody like JD Vance.
I want to ask you about something that Vice President Kamala Harris said this week. She was talking about gun ownership with Oprah Winfrey. She said, quote, "If somebody breaks into my house, they're going to get shot." You, Senator, are a gun owner. As the leader of a party that prides itself on advocating for gun safety, was it responsible for Vice President Harris to make those comments?
Absolutely. I think the vast majority of Americans, if you had somebody breaking into your house that might be there to harm you, you probably have the right to shoot them. And I think that's the vast majority of Americans would agree with that.
All right,
Fair.
well, let me talk about a big issue,
Fair.
another big issue, I should say, in your state, the issue of fracking. I know you've talked about this quite a bit. Vice President Harris, as you know, once supported a ban on fracking when she was running for president in 2020. She even sued the Obama administration to prevent fracking off California's coast. Now she says she will not ban the practice as president. Why should voters trust that that is really what the vice president believes?
So strange why we just keep talking about fracking.
Notice how he doesn't answer the question.
Now, back in 2020, I said that that might be an issue, but it's not going to be a defining issue. And now in 2024, we're still trying to talk about fracking. And now the other side, they're talking about eating cats and geese.
Still not answering the question. Let's turn this around on Republicans. Let's turn it around on J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. I'm not going to answer any questions.
And dogs and saying absurd things and talking about how if Trump doesn't win, he said that, you have to blame the Jews on that. And just absurd things. Like having a serious policy conversation when the other side is just absolutely on fire. And here's where we are, and here we are also that it's going to be very close in Pennsylvania, and it's not going to be defined by fracking.
Well,
He just said a whole bunch of nothing. Literally, he just said a whole bunch of nothing.
we are talking about it because, of course, it supported 120,000 jobs back in 2022. Let me read you some of what you have said about fracking. In 2016, you called it a stain on Pennsylvania. In 2018, you said you don't support fracking at all. But then in 2022, you said you absolutely support fracking. Senator, what exactly do you like about fracking now?
It's strange for some weird gotcha kind of taking quotes out of context. And, here I am now. I'm a United States Senator, and I won by 5 points, a record margin back in 22. And again, it might be an issue in fracking, and I fully support fracking. So does the Vice President Harris. And now if you want to have a serious conversation about policy, then I would challenge Trump and Vance to have one other than talking about eating pets.
Bunch of
And
nothing.
we'll have plenty of questions for Senator Lindsey Graham. There's no doubt about that. But to the point, what do you now like about fracking? You say you're not going to ban it. You support it now.
They're eating dogs. They're eating cats. Again, so, okay.
What?
Yes. They're eating dogs. They're eating cats.
You say you're not going to ban it. You support it now. You now like about Lindsey Graham. There's no doubt about that.
What
But
did this man just say?
to the point.
To
what
the point.
do you now like about fracking? You say you're not going to ban it. You support it now.
They're eating dogs. They're eating cats. Again, so, okay. Yes. And any more on fracking? I think.
What do you like about fracking? They're eating dogs and they're eating cats. This is your answer. This person is in the Senate. This is unbelievable. This is... We don't deserve an answer. The American people don't deserve an answer of why you changed your position, right? All I'm going to do is I'm going to quote something Trump said and completely ignore it and act like what you asked isn't relevant at all. He literally just malfunctioned when he got pressed on why he changed his position. Clearly, if he had an articulate reason for why he changed his position, he would just tell us. Why not be open and transparent? Yeah, hey, I felt this way about it. I learned some new things about it. This, and this changed. No, it seems like he's changing just to get elected. Which seems like Kamala Harris, because again, in 2019, she was, there's no favor I'm in favor of banning fracking. There's no question, there's no doubt I'm in favor of banning fracking. Now she's saying, I made it clear in 2020 that I won't ban fracking. She's lying. She didn't make it clear that she wouldn't. She made it clear that Joe Biden wouldn't, right? She's gaslighting people. But it's unbelievable to watch him just malfunction when pressed on his flip-flopping of positions. Anyway, that is all I got for today. I will see y'all in the next one. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all have a wonderful night.